My name is Liam. I am 25 years old and I swing a hammer for a living. Framing carpenter. I build houses in the suburbs outside Portland, Oregon, the kind of places where every house looks the same until families move in and give them a soul. My mornings start at 5. Black coffee, no sugar, poured into a dented thermos. Tool belt on. By 4 in the afternoon, I am covered in sawdust and sweat, my arms aching in a way that feels earned. I rent a small studio above a bike shop on Southeast Division. One room, a kitchenette, a bathroom, barely big enough to turn around in. It is quiet. I like quiet. The guys on my crew say I am slow at everything. Slow to talk, slow to date, low to decide. Jake, my lead framer and closest thing I have to a friend, never lets me forget it. He told me once I would die alone with a perfectly organized socket set. I laughed because it sounded about right. I have dated a few times, nothing serious. People either get bored with my silence or I get tired of pretending to be louder than I am. Either way, it ends clean and distant. That is why the blind date caught me off guard. Jake cornered me at the job site on a Thursday. Dust hung in the air. An old Springsteen song played on the radio. He said he knew a girl, said she was different, said she needed a decent night out. Just coffee. Nothing heavy. 1 hour, he promised. 1 hour, and he would stop bothering me about my love life for a month. A month of peace sounded worth it. I agreed. The details came in one text. Saturday. 7 pages M. The cozy cup on Alberta. No photo, no last name. Just that she would be near the window. I almost did not go. I stood in front of the mirror wondering if a clean flannel counted as dressing up. I practiced a smile that did not look like I was planning an escape. In the end, I went because Jake would never let me forget it, and because a small part of me still believed surprises were possible. The cozy cup smelled like cinnamon and burnt sugar. Wood tables, mismatched chairs, string lights that never fully worked. I walked in at 6:58 and saw her immediately. She sat by the window, back against the brick wall. Her hair was pulled into a low knot, the color of wet bark. She wore a long-sleeved green dress, sleeves pushed to her elbows. A thin silver bracelet caught the light when she moved. Beside her chair, folded neatly, was a wheelchair. Matte black. Compact. The kind you do not notice until you do. I stopped for half a second. Not because of the chair. Because of her eyes, dark, sharp, already watching me like she knew exactly who I was. "You're Liam," she said before I reached the table. Her voice was calm, steady, not fragile. "I'm Clara." I sat across from her and tried not to sound like an idiot. She smiled, just a little. "Jake said you'd be easy to spot," she said. Tall, quiet, probably wearing sawdust. I glanced down at my jeans. A white streak across the thigh. I brushed it off, embarrassed. "I like watching people guess," she added. "Most stare at the chair first. You didn't." I decided honesty was safer than pretending. I told her I noticed her because she looked like she already knew how the night would end. She laughed, soft and surprised. The barista came over. Clara ordered a cappuccino with extra foam, no cinnamon. I got black coffee. When the cups arrived, I noticed the way her left fingers did not curl quite the same as her right. I did not ask. We talked about small things, rain that never seemed to stop, a new brewery that charged too much. I told her about the house I was framing in Laurelhurst and how one bad angle could throw off the whole structure. She listened like she could see it. "Precision matters," she said, "even when no one sees the bones." She told me she illustrated children's books, showed me a drawing on her phone. A fox mid-leap, eyes full of trouble. She said she sketched digitally now. Easier with one good hand. She said it like it was nothing. Half an hour passed before she leaned back and studied me. "You can ask," she said. "Everyone does." "Ask what?" "About the chair, about why I'm here, about whether Jake warned you." I thought for a moment. Then I said the truth. "I don't need a reason to stay for this coffee. I just need a reason to be invited to the next one." She blinked, then smiled, not fully, but close. "That's new," she said. When the cafe started closing, I walked her to the door. Outside, rain misted the street. I offered to help. She let me push the chair to the curb. She looked up at me, rain caught in her lashes. "Tomorrow," she said. "Laurelhurst Park. 10 a.m. I'll bring my sketchbook. You bring the coffee." "Deal," I said. As I walked home, my coffee cold in my hand, I realized something had shifted. For the first time in years, I was not thinking about work. I was thinking about tomorrow. I woke up before my alarm the next morning. The sky outside my window was still gray, the color of wet concrete. I lay there staring at a water stain on the ceiling that looked like a broken map and realized I was nervous, not the panicked kind. The quiet kind. The kind you feel when you are about to lift something heavy, and you know it has to be done right the first time. I showered, pulled on a clean gray shirt, and stopped at the corner market on my way out. I remembered Clara mentioning iced peach tea the night before. No sugar, extra ice. I bought 2. It felt stupid how proud I was for remembering. Laurelhurst Park was already alive by 10. Joggers moved along the paths. Dogs chased frisbees. Kids screamed like the world had just been invented. I spotted Clara under a big maple tree, sitting on a bench in the shade. Her wheelchair was beside her, unfolded this time, lighter than the one from the cafe. It looked more like sports equipment than anything medical. She wore a loose linen shirt and olive pants cut off below the knee. A tablet rested on her lap, a stylus tucked behind her ear. When she saw me, she smiled the same small smile from the night before. "You're on time," she said. "I didn't want to be drawn with a unibrow," I said, handing her the tea. She laughed and showed me a quick sketch on her screen. It was me, exaggerated forehead, holding 2 drinks like I was about to spill them. I laughed louder than I meant to. We walked the path together. She rolled at an easy pace. I matched it without thinking. The park smelled like wet grass and cedar. Every few minutes she stopped to take a photo. Light through leaves. A balloon caught in a tree. The reflection of clouds in the pond. "References," she said. "My brain forgets details if I don't steal them." I asked about the accident. Not how it happened, just what came after. She told me about rehab, about anger, about learning to draw again when her body refused to cooperate. "One moment you're driving to a gallery opening," she said. "The next you're learning how to live in a body that forgot how to walk." She didn't cry. She didn't soften it. She just told me. I listened. At the rose garden, she stopped and clipped a small desk onto the arm of her chair. Her stylus moved fast. In less than a minute, she had captured the roses, bruised and imperfect, light hitting them like they were the only flowers left. "Real isn't pretty," she said. "Real is interesting." I sat across from her, elbows on my knees. I asked if she ever got tired of interesting. "Every day," she said. "But tired is better than invisible." We stayed until the sun climbed high enough to heat the metal of her chair. On a gravel patch, I offered my arm. She took it without hesitation. Her grip was firm. Confident. I noticed the difference in her hands but said nothing. She noticed me noticing and squeezed once, like punctuation. At the pond, a little boy stared. His mother pulled him away, whispering. Clara watched them go. "The worst part isn't the stares," she said. "It's the apology in people's eyes." "I don't want to be another apology," I said. She looked at me for a long moment. "Then don't be." Before we parted, she invited me to a small outdoor concert the next Friday, casual, blankets, overpriced tacos. I said yes, not because I was brave, because I wanted to see her again. The week crawled. I framed walls, drove nails, thought about her laugh when I messed up a measurement. Friday came. I brought tacos, churros, a blanket, found her near the back of the crowd. She looked beautiful in a loose sweater, her hair down, catching the string lights. Halfway through the music, I noticed people whispering, glancing at the chair. Clara noticed too, her shoulders folded in slightly. She said she was done. I didn't argue. I walked her to her van. She apologized. I told her she didn't owe anyone a performance. She looked at me like she was deciding something, and then she drove away. The silence started the next morning. No texts, no fox emoji, nothing. I told myself she was busy. By day 3, the quiet felt heavy. By day 5, I was drawing on scrap paper at work. Bad drawings. Stick figures. Her shape by the pond. On day 10, I found an envelope in my mailbox. Inside was a sketch of me on the bench, holding 2 iced teas. Careful, gentle. On the back she had written that people only draw what they don't want to forget. I ran. I found her under the same maple tree. She was drawing when I arrived. She looked up when I held out the sketch. "You came," she said. "I needed to see if you were okay," I said. She told me she had run because she was tired of being fixed, tired of auditioning for her own life. "I'm not good at chasing," I said. "Good," she said. "I'm not good at being chased." We sat in silence. Then she invited me back the next Saturday. Same bench, same tea. As I walked away, I knew this wasn't simple. But I also knew I wasn't done. Saturday came with a gray sky that could not decide what it wanted. I reached the bench early, 2 iced peach teas sweating in the carrier, a paper bag of lemon scones balanced on top. The park smelled like damp earth and old leaves. I sat and waited without checking my phone. When I heard the soft sound of wheels on pavement, my chest tightened in a way I could not explain. Clara rolled into view slower than before, like she was giving herself time to turn around. She wore a dark hoodie with the sleeves pushed up and the same cargo pants from before. Her tablet was tucked under her arm. She stopped a few feet away and studied me. "You're early," she said. "Traffic was kind," I said. She smiled, small and careful, and took the tea when I handed it to her. We sat with space between us. Not distance, just room. The silence felt different this time. Not heavy. Just honest. "I owe you an explanation," she said. "You don't owe me anything." "I owe myself one," she said. She told me about deleting the sketches she had made of me after the concert, about being afraid they would become all she had left. She showed me a drawing on her tablet, me running toward the park, sketch clutched to my chest, lines wild and alive. "I thought you were done," I said. "I thought so too," she said. But then I realized I ran from the only person who never tried to fix me. I told her I was not good at words, not good at chasing. She said maybe we were both good at showing up. That felt right. We fell into a rhythm after that. Saturdays became ours. Always the bench. Always the tea. Sometimes donuts. Sometimes rain. Some mornings we talked for hours. Other times we let the silence sit between us while she drew, and I read whatever paperback I found at the library sale. The silence was never empty. It felt like the space inside a framed wall before insulation goes in. You know it is holding something. As fall turned to winter, the park emptied earlier. We moved under covered picnic shelters when the rain got heavy. I brought a small camp stove and heated cider in a dented pot. She wore fingerless gloves so she could keep drawing even when the cold bit. One rainy February morning, the cold cut sharper than usual. Clara's teeth chattered once before she caught herself. I draped my jacket over her shoulders without asking. She let me. She leaned just enough that her shoulder pressed against my arm. Not a hug. Not a promise. Just contact. "I see you, Liam," she said quietly. "I see you too," I said. Spring came back slowly. Dogwood blossoms. Cut grass. The bench returned to the sun. Clara's hair grew longer. She braided it loosely. I grew a beard, shaved it, grew it back when she laughed and said it suited me. We did not talk about labels. We did not talk about the future. We talked about her book. About my job. About how some walls look solid but are hollow inside. About how others look fragile but hold everything together. One October morning, she handed me an envelope before she even sat down. Inside was a printed card, the cover of her new children's book. A fox mid-flight, wings wide. My name was in the dedication. "To Liam," it read, "who showed up when the wings were still paper." I did not trust my voice, so I just nodded and tucked it into my jacket. Winter deepened. We shared hot drinks. Shared quiet. One Saturday, she gave me a key to her place, said it was for emergencies, said she was tired of unlocking the door with her teeth when her hands were full. I slipped it onto my key ring next to my truck key. It fit like it belonged there. We did not say I love you. We did not need to. Love was in the donuts. In the way I remembered to bring a second stylus. In the way she texted me when my work ran late. One summer afternoon, the park was crowded. Families, balloons, noise. We found a quiet spot by the pond. Clara sketched a little girl chasing bubbles, her wheelchair forgotten in the grass. I lay back and watched clouds move. "You ever think this is it?" she asked. "Just this?" Quote. I thought about the house I had just finished framing, about her laugh, about the key in my pocket. "Yeah," I said. "I think this is it." She smiled and kept drawing. When she showed me the sketch, it was us. Simple lines, no labels, just two people present. I offered my hand as she folded her lap desk. She took it. We stood there for a moment while the world moved around us. The bench would be there next week. So would we. The Saturdays kept coming, steady and quiet, like a promise neither of us had spoken out loud. They did not need words. They had rhythm. Donuts from the shop on 39th, still warm. 2 iced peach teas when the weather was kind. 1 thermos of something hot when it was not. The same bench. The same maple tree. The same pause when we first saw each other. Like we were checking in with ourselves before stepping closer. I started to notice how much of my week bent toward those mornings. I framed walls with more care. I stopped rushing home. I saved things to tell her. Small things. A crooked stud that somehow held. A house finished and filled with laughter that was not mine. I liked having a place to put my thoughts. Clara changed too, though she would never say it that way. She laughed easier. Stayed longer. She started leaving her sketches unfinished on purpose, letting me watch the lines form instead of showing me the end. She let me carry her tablet sometimes, trusted me with the fragile things. That mattered more than anything she could have said. One evening, she asked me to come over, just dinner. Nothing fancy. I brought groceries. Burned the first pan of vegetables. We laughed and ate standing up in her small kitchen. When I left, she did not say goodbye. She said, "See you in the morning," like it was already decided. Spring slipped into summer again. The park filled with noise. We found quiet where we could. One night we stayed late by the pond, the air warm and still. She stopped rolling and looked at me like she was about to step off a ledge. "You don't have to stay," she said. "If this is pity." I felt it then, sharp and clear. I knelt in front of her so we were eye level. I told her the truth because anything else would have been cruel. "I stayed because you see me," I said. "And because I don't feel like I'm performing when I'm with you. I feel like I'm home." Quote. She reached for my hand, not dramatic, not rushed, just sure. She rested it in her lap and held it there. "Okay," she said. "Then stay." We did not kiss right away. We sat like that, hands joined, the water moving softly behind us. When she leaned forward, it was slow, intentional. Our kiss was gentle, careful, real, nothing rushed, nothing borrowed from someone else's idea of romance. Life did not change overnight. It settled. I spent more time at her place. She came to mine. We learned each other's rhythms, where she needed help, where she did not, where I needed silence, where she needed space to draw. People stared sometimes. We noticed. We did not stop. One Saturday, a year after the first coffee, we sat on the bench again. Same spot. Same maple. She handed me a sketch. It was the bench. The tree. The pond. 2 figures. Close but not tangled. "This one's finished," she said. I pinned it above my desk that night, next to the first one. They belonged together. We still do Saturdays. Not because we have to. Because we choose to. And every time I hear the soft sound of her wheels behind me, I know exactly where I am meant to be.